Is he a rival promoter?
He's another
I haven't
promoter.
seen a rival anything from Eddie Hearn or any of these other guys. I wouldn't call Eddie Hearn a rival anything. What is Eddie Hearn going to bring to the management table that we haven't seen in the last 25 years?
Boxing's not for him, right? He's the worst business in the world. And I didn't expect him to implode this early. And I almost sit there. I mean, that was one clip, but there's been 4 or 5 clips that he literally hasn't stopped talking about me. He's called me out for a fight, right? And then he says that I'm not competition. I'll be honest with you. I agree with him. Because in boxing right now, as I've said before, he cannot lace my boots. I mean, to say that we aren't a competitor of his just is the most bizarre statement, because we're coming off sellout shows in the UK, sellout shows in America, big world championship fights. He's literally, I mean, the best way that I could describe what Zuffa are doing at the moment is, if we were in COVID right now, I would actually say they're doing okay, because that's what it is. And they come out and they've got no vision. All I've seen is Dana coming out, losing his rag, blood pressure going through the roof, calling me this, calling me that, but not actually doing anything.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome to Duality 7X. I'm your host, Shiraz. Guys, today we're going to be talking about probably one of the most strangest stories of the year. And we're only in March. Like, we still have a whole rest of the year ahead of us, and already the stories are becoming even more and more bizarre day by day. So Dana White, yes, the UFC boss, is considering fighting one of the biggest boxing promoters in combat sports. Guys, Dana White isn't backing down from the idea of boxing. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing, but admits that this could probably be one of the biggest gaffes and embarrassing moments for the two of them should they ever enter the ring. So yeah, Dana White just challenged Eddie Hearn to a boxing match, guys, and somehow this weird story might actually reveal something much bigger happening behind the scenes and in the fight business at this moment, guys. And if this isn't really about a fight, then it's really about control of boxing. Perhaps. I could be wrong, guys. But yeah, Dana White is potentially exploring boxing Eddie Hearn. Just think about that for a second, guys. I'll give you a few seconds to digest that and let your brain try to comprehend what it is that I'm trying to say. Because believe it or not, guys, these two promoters are actually talking about this weirdest idea of boxing one another seriously. And once you look past the memes, the jokes, and all the trash talk, the whole situation is going to kind of explain itself and tell you a little bit about where boxing and MMA are actually headed next. Guys, like, what are we going to see? Dana White versus Eddie Hearn. The winner gets to fight Mauricio Suleiman of the WBC or Frank Warren of Queensberry. Like, what the heck is going on, guys? So anyways, let's try to dissect this to the best of our abilities, guys. And look, this story actually picked up during the UFC 326 post-fight press conference. And Dana White was actually asked about the back and forth that's been kind of going on between him and Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. And Dana basically doubled down. He essentially said that if Eddie Hearn wants to box him, then fly out to Las Vegas and they can do it at the UFC Apex Meta Center or Meta Apex Center, and yeah, maybe they'll make a pay-per-view out of it as well too. And even Dana admitted the idea is kind of ridiculous, but he said he's 56 years old, and the last time he tried to prepare for a boxing match was years ago, and he almost fought Tito Ortiz, and it was a nightmare. And then he joked that if the fight actually happened between the two of these guys, This would be the first fight on the prelims because it would be probably the most embarrassing to put anywhere else. Jeez. So, well, would that be Zuffa 5 or like what event would that be? And then would that be co-promoted by Matchroom Boxing? This crazy, guys. I know. I can't even believe we're talking about this. But guys, this is an actual thing. It's actually, they're talking about it. And now I report all of this stuff because just talking about it sometimes just fizzles away into talk. But a lot of the weird stuff that's coming out started off in just talking. So I want to make sure that you get this breaking news. Because, honestly, at the end of the day, we're talking about two lifelong fight promoters, not fighters, fight promoters, right? And honestly, this is probably the most honest part of the entire situation. The fact that if these guys were to fight, it'll probably be the first fight on the prelims because it will be probably one of the most embarrassing moments for both of these fighters, or sorry, fight promoters. Yeah, crazy. Anyways, guys, let's look at this, right? Because at the end of the day, man, anything can happen, especially in this day and age. And here's where the story actually twists and turns and gets a little bit interesting because Dana White and Eddie Hearn, they used to be friendly. They actually used to be very cordial with one another and on talking terms and like friends. But recently, the relationship has taken a twist for the turn. It's gone south. It's changed a lot. And the reason is Zuffa Boxing. And right now, Dana White, WWE President Nick Khan, Saudi boxing financier, His Excellency Turki Alalshikh, and Paramount Plus, throw that into the equation, the TKA group. I mean, they're all working together to reshape what boxing's going to look like. And they want to reshape the boxing business altogether. And that's not sitting well with guys like Mauricio Suleiman of the WBC, the IBF, the WBO, the WBA, the sanctioning bodies that are around. That's not sitting well with Frank Warren of Queensberry, Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing, Oscar De La Hoya of Golden Boy, Manny Pacquiao. It's not sitting well with a lot of these fight promoters and sanctioning bodies because Zuffa's coming to infiltrate, not work with, not cooperate with, but get rid of the competition and form its own ecosystem style boxing very similar to the UFC. And so, yeah, a lot of those traditional, old-time boxing promoters are all on the edge, guys, especially Eddie Hearn. Because after this year, something crazy happened just recently that shocked the entire boxing community, and not even boxing community, but the world of combat sports, and even shook up sports entertainment and even the UFC and MMA. And that was Conor Benn, one of the biggest stars of Matchroom Boxing, signs up with Dana White Zuffa Boxing for a one-fight deal worth 8 figures. $15 million, 1-5, guys. And that's rubbing a lot of fighters who fought their entire careers in the UFC, who never even made a fraction of that, kind of shaking their head and going, what? Who the heck? Sean O'Malley even said, who's Conor Benn? I've never even heard of this guy. But yeah, Eddie Hearn lost one of his biggest fighters to Zuffa, to Dana White and Zuffa Boxing. That move alone sent a very, very clear message that Dana White and Turki Alalshikh are not here to play nice with the old boxing system. They've got an agenda, and they're here to compete with it. And the escalation, guys, it continues because Eddie Hearn starts to fire back, not directly in the ring, of course, but in the business world. And shortly after the whole Conor Benn signing situation, people were shocked again that the fact that UFC and Dana White was able to scoop up, or Zuffa Boxing was able to scoop up Conor Benn, but Eddie Hearn ended up doing something very shocking as well. He signed one of UFC's biggest fighters and current world heavyweight champion, UFC world heavyweight champion, Tom Aspinall, to Matchroom Talent Group. Like, that is just shocking. Now, a lot of people may not think that's huge at first, but symbolically, it was a shot across the bow, guys. I mean, it basically said that, hey, if you're going to step into boxing, then we could step into your world too. So now you've got this weird situation playing out here, guys. You got Dana White, who's moving into boxing. You got Eddie Hearn, who's working with UFC fighters. Like, he's currently signed by the UFC, and he's a current heavyweight champion of the UFC. So this makes things very, very odd. And now both sides are starting to really test each other, and it brings us to the whole boxing challenge. And honestly, guys, I mean, the real question that nobody is asking yet is, what if this ridiculous fight between Dana White and Eddie Hearn is actually a promotion for a much bigger war coming to boxing? Because the business battle happening behind the scenes right now, or unfolding before our eyes, for all we know it, could completely reshape the entire sport as we know it, right? So the challenge itself, as we know, Dana White appeared on the Piers Morgan Uncensored show, all right? And if you guys saw that, and you know, Piers Morgan was asking about Tom Aspinall and everything, and during the interview, he said something very simple. If Eddie Hearn wants to box, then they can box. And then Dana White also added that he doesn't think Eddie would actually do it. Well, when Eddie heard that, and then like literally the next day he responded in an interview with IFL TV, and Eddie Hearn didn't even hesitate. He said, of course he'd take the fight, because if he didn't, people would call him a coward. And then he joked that Netflix or DAZN would probably pay a fortune to stream the fight. And now he even added that he thinks that he'd probably knock out Dana. Can you imagine, guys? Wow. I mean, at this point, it sounds like a classic fight promoter trash talk, if you ask me. But realistically, guys, honestly, this fight's probably not going to happen. But in today's world of combat sports, guys, and sports entertainment, you honestly can't rule anything out. I mean, we've seen YouTubers headline pay-per-views, right? Boxers fighting MMA champions, MMA fighters fighting boxing champions. Guys, influencers selling out millions and millions of buys and ad spots. So, I mean, two promoters fighting each other is probably not the craziest thing we've heard. And you never know, guys, if the money's right, if there's enough hype that's like building up, I wouldn't be surprised if Turki Alalshikh pokes Dana a little bit and says, come on, man, take one for the team, because this can be good for all of us. Strange, yes. Impossible, not really. So anyways, guys, the bigger story here isn't really the fight. It's obviously the power struggle that's going on in the world of combat sports. Dana interfering in the world of boxing, not even interfering. I mean, he's got a legitimate business. He's got Zuffa Boxing, and those traditional boxing promoters and sanctioning bodies, they may or may not like it. They probably don't like it, but too bad, so sad. And now Eddie Hearn's kind of meddling into the world of MMA, and that's kind of putting Dana a little bit on edge. So, I mean, I'm sure Dana and Turki are trying to modernize boxing using like the whole UFC model, trying to create its own kind of sub-ecosystem, so to speak, centralized promotion, one belt, the Zuffa belt, which kind of matters most to the Zuffa fighters, better fight scheduling, and then, potentially fewer promotional barriers, right? Meanwhile, promoters like Eddie Hearn, right, have spent years building their infrastructure and their relationships, their systems, So naturally, there's going to be some friction. I'm not surprised that these guys are trash talking one another, but I'm starting to wonder if, like, at what point are these guys going to realize that their words are just kind of, encapsulating into one big ball that's going to just pop. And that ball that's going to pop is going to be when these guys actually agree to meet in the ring for like a 3-round, 1 minute or 2 minute, 3 rounds boxing fight. And believe me, guys, it'll be tuned in. Like, people around, you may not think it's a big deal, but people around the world will watch it. All right. So if you want to be the first fight on the prelims fight because Dana's thinking that hopefully nobody watches it and it's going to be the most embarrassing thing, well, that's probably going to be the one fight that everybody will watch, right? So anyways, guys, Zuffa's here to stay. And they're going to be a major force to contend with. You know, questions are going to surround how fights are going to get made, how fighters are going to get paid, how promoters are going to be able to compete. There's a lot of ifs, there's a lot of whats, there's a lot of hows, and you know, obviously Dana is learning and growing at the same time. But I mean, what are the traditional promoters actually going to do, right? I mean, so maybe they have to resort to what Dana White and Eddie Hearn are talking about. Maybe these guys aren't the craziest of the lot. Maybe they're onto something. Maybe they need to fight it out in the ring to actually get something solved. Perhaps. I don't know. And honestly, guys, Dana said it'd probably be embarrassing, and he's probably right. But again, it's not one of the strangest combat stories we're hearing in boxing. It's definitely strange. All right, I'll tell you right now, but it's definitely alludes to the fact that bigger things are happening behind the scenes in the world of boxing. The fight business is changing, guys. Like it or not, it's changing. And the real fight might not even happen in the ring. It might happen in a boardroom, perhaps maybe a broadcast deal, fighter contracts. Just remember, Paramount invested umpteens of billions of dollars into this deal that they're doing with Turki and Dana. And they're going to make sure that they want their money back. And guys, they've got a long money line, and they'll throw whatever they need to make it stick, to make it work. But I'm almost seeing shades of WCW wrestling versus WWE, and the whole, you know, the wars that were happening between these agencies when you had Ted Turner, you know, the president of CNN, and, you know, he kind of took over WCW. And then on the other hand, you got Vince McMahon with the WWE. That time it was the WWF. Guys, this could be one of those things, but I don't know. I'm almost leaning more towards Dana and Zuffa having the competitive edge here. But anyways, guys, I want to hear from you. I want to hear what your thoughts are. If you guys like this video, please smash the like and subscribe. You know, help us out, and share this video with all your friends. Hit the notifications so you guys never miss a beat. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Put it in the comments, guys. I respond to the comments. Yeah, not the strangest thing, definitely, but definitely weird. We'll catch you in tomorrow's video.